Hey guys, welcome back to the United Star, and we have Rishi to go through another analytical video with us. And today we're specifically talking about the wingbacks because we know how big a role they've started playing in football, and the introduction of Aaron Wan-Bissaka from Crystal Palace this season has been spectacular. Luke Shaw has been an outstanding player for us, especially since the introduction of our own born and bred red Brandon Williams. Diego Dallo hasn't got that much game time. So Rishi, I'm going to leave it to you. What's your take on the wingbacks and how they've been performing analytically and theoretically?
Vishesh, we're not going to spend too much time on Williams and Diego Dallo simply because once I'll explain the stats about Luke Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, we'll realize just how good they have been and just how much potential we have to left to unlock in these players, and they can really be the core of a title-winning team, in my opinion. So I'm going to get started with Luke Shaw at left wing back, and I'm going to analyze his heat map first to show how he moves. After the lockdown, we've seen some good amount of movement from his respect. What we'll do is we'll divide the pitch from left wing to right wing into 4 quarters. And if we observe Luke Shaw, he occupies the 2 quarters from left wing to left center mid quite a bit. And if we contrast that with Trent Alexander-Arnold's, his positioning, even though Alexander-Arnold plays on the right, is quite similar. Both Luke Shaw and Trent Alexander-Arnold actually occupy quite attacking positions based on their team style of play, and they like to fill in the places that the midfielders leave to collect the ball and play some shorter passes rather than play the long ball across the pitch. Now, let's get into some stats, Vishesh. So, Luke Shaw has an average of 1.5 dribbles per game, with 1.1 of them being successful. And I'd like to remind you that these are normalized per game. So even though Luke Shaw has played fewer games, the total stats have been divided per game. And if we contrast this to Trent Alexander-Arnold, who has offensively been much better, Trent Alexander-Arnold has had only 1.3 dribbles per game, of which only 0.5 of them are successful. So when we contrast this, it shows that maybe Luke Shaw is more of a driver of the game. He fills the spaces that the midfielders take up, while Trent Alexander-Arnold is more of a crosser of the game. He likes to take positions much further up. Next, I'd like to bring up the defensive stats that Luke Shaw actually has, which have been really good if we go to see. Luke Shaw has about a 75% win rate with his tackles as compared to Trent Alexander-Arnold's 60%. And keeping in mind that Luke Shaw wins these tackles way ahead in the opponent's half, which is very vital for a team like United because we can immediately put pressure on the team and start our attack from there instead of starting the attack from the back, which we've been seeing of late, which has put a lot of pressure on United. If we also see the cross accuracy for Luke Shaw, it's slightly higher than Trent Alexander-Arnold at 24% versus Trent Alexander-Arnold's 21%. But which is the key point being over here is Luke Shaw's crosses seem to be more towards the box rather than straight towards the goal. Means they don't come flat towards the goal. They are pullbacks usually. So it's tougher for the player on the ball to score from those positions, which is why we see such poor stats from Luke Shaw, which is only 1 assist. And we've also seen a lot of crosses from Luke Shaw hit defenders. So his general crossing ability and attacking ability as compared to Trent Alexander-Arnold is not yet that comparable. Also, we need to consider Luke Shaw's disciplinary issues. On a per game basis, Luke Shaw commits 1 foul per game, whereas Trent Alexander commits only 0.6 fouls per game. And if we look at yellow cards, it takes Luke Shaw almost 4 games to get 1 yellow card, whereas it takes Trent Alexander-Arnold 10 games to get 1 yellow card, which suggests that Luke Shaw is very unconfident while pushing back. He likes to win the ball in the opponent's half, and if that doesn't happen, he's more likely to bring the player down, which is more likely to get him booked. But that being said, Trent Alexander-Arnold has double the key passes of Luke Shaw, which is where the stark difference comes. And I know we like to think of Luke Shaw as an attacking player, but if we actually analyze the stats, Vishesh, he has not been the attacking player. Rather, he's been the linking player. He's a player who drives the ball from midfield to attack and lays it off to players like Rashford or Bruno to get the assists, which is somewhere where we can really, really improve a lot. If Luke Shaw starts getting the assists and starts playing more key passes, his contribution to the team is going to be immense, and I'm sure we're going to get goals left, right, and center. So this is something which I think Ole can definitely work on in the training ground. And it's absolutely vital that Luke Shaw improves on these key stats, such as key passes. But all around, summing up Luke Shaw, minus the goals and assists and the key passes, I think Luke Shaw has so much potential, and we're finally seeing the player that we had bought from Southampton for a record price. And I think it's time for him to now take more responsibility in the team, to start being pressured to get more assists, to not just drive the game, but also link the game in the third half of the uh, pitch. So that's my view on Luke Shaw. Anything you'd like to add?
Sorry, let me just comment on this. And you've been pretty spot on when it comes to the analysis of Luke Shaw. But what I would want to mention is the difference between him in the 2018 season vis-a-vis the 2019 season. If you look at the stats on the screen, right, the number of fouls he's committed are way less in comparison. Like this season, it's only 23, whereas last season it's 42. And similarly for the yellow cards, this season it's 7 vis-a-vis last season it's 11. So that shows that he is working on the discipline factor that you were talking about. And what I really like to see is the number of offsides he's been in. This season it's already 4 compared to last season's 1, which shows that he's helping from an attacking front as well. And when we look at the way he's come back since lockdown, he's been in the opponent's half way more than in our own defensive half. He's been making, I think he made 50 passes against Villa with a 95% accuracy. If we look at these pictures, we can see how he's making the outside run, the underlying and overlying run, to allow Rashford the space to, get the defender like confused and then run in through. So he's done this against Villa. He did this against Sheffield, and he's definitely becoming an integral part of that back four. And since his injury, we've really missed him. And Ole has used him in different positions, right? He's been our third center back. He's been our left back, which is showing some sort of versatility within the player as well.
Yeah, Vishesh, I definitely agree with you. But like I said, if we compare key passes, which is what a wingback should be doing, let's face it, modern football relies more on wingbacks than it does on its actual wingers, because the wingers are just meant to cut in, whereas the wingbacks are meant to play the crosses or link the play. So if we compare that to we can say is one of the best wingbacks in the league right now, which is Trent Alexander-Arnold, his key passes are really lacking, which means even though he gets forward a lot, he ends up playing most of those forward passes back into Rashford or back to Bruno. And we can work on that in the training ground to make sure he starts playing those passes towards goal now. So anyways, I'd like to now move on to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka, everyone knows, is a more defensively minded player. And we also have the stats to prove that how defensively minded he is, but also the improvements that he's made in his attacking play. So first we'll have a look at his heat map. If we see his heat map from defense to attack, his distribution is pretty similar to Luke Shaw. He's got a lot of hotspots in the defensive half as well as the attacking half, which means Ole is trying to push Aaron Wan-Bissaka as forward as possible. He's trying to play the team as symmetric as possible. He doesn't want the team to be skewed too much towards one side. But the key aspect I want you to look at in comparison to Luke Shaw is the defensive heat map. If you look at it, firstly, Aaron Wan-Bissaka only occupies 1/4 of the wing position. He only occupies the right wing position. If we look at it, if we divide the position into 4 quarters, that suggests that he doesn't look for spaces between the midfielders. He's only there for positional reasons to ensure that people like Greenwood have space to cut in, and he can just occupy that extra space to keep the defender occupied. Now, if you look at it next to our box, he's got much more density next to our box as compared to Luke Shaw, which means he likes to stick next to our centre back. And which is why he has such a good defensive record, is simply because he stays close to his centre backs, and it's very difficult to get past two players, especially a player like Aaron Wan-Bissaka who's so long. So we'll just jump into a few stats to to further clarify this. Now, he attempts almost 4.3 tackles per game, Vishesh, of which 83% are successful. His attempts per game are almost 1.5 times that of Trent Alexander-Arnold. And we've seen that with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's not scared to go into a tackle, and he'll win most of them, especially in key areas like the box, which is a very great quality to have in a defender. Next, he doesn't only have tackling in his arsenal, but Vishesh, if you look at his interceptions per game, they're almost 1.5 times that of Trent Alexander-Arnold. This suggests that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is very good positionally. He knows how to position himself so that he doesn't have to cover too much ground. yet he can intercept the ball in key areas and break up play. Now, uh, while Aaron Wan-Bissaka also has much better stats as compared to Trent Alexander-Arnold in terms of dribbles and successful dribbles, but his key passes are exactly half of that of Trent Alexander-Arnold and 0.7 times that of Shaw. And this is the stat this is the stat that shows Aaron Wan-Bissaka's weakness in attack. He's barely played any key passes, and the stat to sum this up is his cross accuracy is only 13%. And when we spoke about Shaw and Trent Alexander-Arnold, they had crossing accuracies of 24 and 21%, which is this is almost half. Okay, so you can understand Aaron Wan-Bissaka as a player is not there to put in the crosses, but he's there only for positional reasons in the attack. His key role in United is to fulfill the defensive roles, which are very great from the stats that we've just explained. But that being said, like I said, there's so much room for improvement and potential, and we've seen that after the lockdown. We've seen him be more involved in the attack. In fact, he has 4 assists. While the stats do suggest his key passes and crosses are bad, he does have 4 assists. So when he actually does get forward and tries his best, he does get the reward for that. And this is where I'm trying to convey the message that there is so much potential in our 2 wingbacks that if Ole capitalizes on them and makes them true fullbacks, where not only are the defensive stats staying the same, but all the attacking stats improve. Vishesh, I'm telling you, we're going to be in for a fun ride with Martial bagging at least 25 goals a season. And my suggestion would also be that till the time where Aaron Wan-Bissaka can improve his attacking qualities, we play an asymmetric team where we heavily rely on the left side for our attacks, and we push Aaron Wan-Bissaka a little closer to the defenders to cover for all the counters which we are so susceptible to. This in the short term will really boost our chances of keeping clean sheets, while at the same time ensuring we have enough support in the attack.
So Rishi, let me just ask you a few questions because they have been raised by the fan base, and I'm curious as well. And after hearing your take on how Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw are, my first question would be: do you think we can see Wan-Bissaka come in as a centre back rather than Luke Shaw when we're playing the 3 at the back because his positioning is so good?
Yeah, Vishesh, I definitely agree. I think that's a much better option simply because, like I said, his interceptions are much better. So even if he plays a little ahead of the 2 main central defenders, he's more likely to help Matic out in intercepting, passes that are likely to go through between Matic and the 2 centre backs. So that's definitely a much better option, especially considering how much Luke Shaw likes to be involved in the offensive side of things. He likes to take up space in between of midfielders. He's not scared to come a little deep towards Bruno, towards Matic, and support them. So I think that's a much better option when we play a 3-5-2.
Okay, and secondly, we haven't touched upon, players like Williams and Dalot. Dalot seems to be not in favor with the manager, but let's say Fosu Mensah, a player who's coming up in the last few games. So with this pressure already being there, the likes of Williams, Fosu Mensah, Ethan Laird in the academy, do we need to go out in the market and get a left back or right back, or do you think we're good?
Vishesh, I'd say simply for injury reasons, like we saw Shaw get injured and we saw Williams get injured. We just need to buy one wing back who should be versatile on both wings. He doesn't have to be the best at either of them. He just needs to be able to play both wings so that we are safeguarded. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, in my opinion, there's no defender or wing back in the team right now who's comparable to Aaron Wan-Bissaka in terms of his defensive stats. We've seen Fosu Mensah do well, but he is very trigger happy. He'll slide into a tackle at the wrong times, not in the way that Aaron Wan-Bissaka does, and he's very likely to get booked. He's good going up, no doubt, just like Williams is. They cover distance well and they are aggressive players. But for the time being, I think we just need one more player to seal that place just in case we do get injuries.
Okay, so guys, that's what we think is, and that's what our analysis is for Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. They seem to be, our wingbacks for the long run. Ole's been working on both Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, making Wan-Bissaka more of an attacking threat and getting Luke Shaw more disciplined this season. So do let us know what you think our back 4 is going to look like in terms of wingbacks. Do we go in the market, buy another wingback? What should be done next? Thanks, Rishi, for this great analysis. We'll be back with more analysis, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, Vishesh. See you guys.